All right, welcome back. Today, we've got a fantastic story for you. It's about a gardener who is having a really tough time selling his flowers. But, and this is the cool part, he came up with this one totally clever, almost backward idea that turned his tiny garden into a huge success story.
So let's get right into it. What was the big problem? Well, there was this young guy, Ko Tartet, and he had a garden that was just stunning. So beautiful, in fact, that people would come from all over just to look at it. And right there, that was the problem. They'd look, but they wouldn't buy. It was all window shopping. You know, like staring at a perfect cake you can't actually eat.
And that really gets to the heart of his dilemma, right? Here's our guy, Kosar Hitet, and he absolutely adored his flowers. I mean, he treated them like family. But you and I both know, passion doesn't put food on the table. He just didn't have the cash to make his dream a real paying business. So just picture this for a second. He's got this gorgeous garden, perfect spot up near a hill. He's got a product so good that people are literally just showing up to look at it. He's poured his heart and soul into these plants. But that passion, it wasn't translating into profit. That one crucial piece of the puzzle, actual money, was totally missing.
Okay, so what's a guy to do? This is where the story takes a really interesting turn. His solution, well, it was completely out of left field. Instead of pushing harder to sell, he did the exact opposite. He decided to give it all away. Well, kinda.
Yeah, that was his big announcement to the public. He basically threw open the gates and said, "Come on in, it's free." And you can guess what happened, right? The crowds went wild. I mean, who doesn't love free stuff? The chance to finally walk through this famous garden without paying a dime, no one could resist that.
And here's the genius of it, and it's so simple. Step 1, get people in the door with that free offer. Easy enough. Step 2, let them wander around. But they're not just looking anymore, are they? They're connecting with the flowers, picking out their favorites. And then, step 3, right at that moment when they've fallen in love with a specific plant, he gives them a super easy way to make it theirs. All right, so here's the real kicker. It's what happened next. People didn't just start buying the flowers. They were happily paying more than what they were worth at the market. So how in the world did he manage that? I mean, check this out. You could go down to the local market and get the same flower for about $3. But in his garden, people were lining up, cash in hand, ready to pay $5. That's almost double the price. It's incredible. So that's the big question, isn't it? Why would anyone happily pay so much more? And the answer, the secret that unlocks this whole thing, has nothing to do with the flower itself. It was all about how the customer was feeling right then and there. It really all boils down to psychology. First, think about it. You've just had this amazing experience for free. You kind of feel like you owe them something, right? It's a natural human instinct. But even more powerful was this. You weren't just buying any old flower. You were buying your flower, the one you walked around and picked out yourself. You weren't just buying a plant. You were buying the memory of finding it.
And you can bet he knew he'd struck gold. He realized he'd stumbled onto something huge. Just by changing how he sold them, he had figured out how to turn these simple flowers into something incredibly valuable. He wasn't a gardener anymore. He was a gold miner.
But this was just the start. This one brilliant idea wasn't just a quick win. It was the launching pad for something way, way bigger. And I mean, the growth was just explosive. In just 1 month, his garden became the place to go. But check this out. Just 1 year later, he takes all that momentum and builds an entire resort on a mountaintop. It's just, wow, all from that one simple trick of selling an experience. And here's something else he noticed, which is pretty cool. The vibe of the place was so good, so relaxing, that business people started showing up to have their meetings there. They'd be talking deals, surrounded by all these beautiful flowers. He realized he hadn't just built a flower shop, he'd created a destination. So, naturally, people started asking him, "What's your secret?" And his answer just nails it. He understood that the flower was never the main thing. The real product, the thing people were actually paying for, was the feeling of choosing it themselves, that little spark of joy and discovery. That was the whole shebang. You know, there's actually a fancy psychological term for this. It's called the endowment effect. And it's pretty simple. The second we feel like something is ours, even before we've paid for it, our brain decides it's more valuable. By letting people pick their own flower, he was basically hacking this little cork in our brains. Absolutely brilliant.
So, what's the big takeaway for all of us? It's this. Start thinking about the things you buy. That morning coffee from your favorite spot, that brand of car you love. Are you really just buying coffee or a car? Or
Just like those people in the garden, are you actually paying a little extra for the experience that comes with it?